Welcome to Progressive Independence. I am Michael Wilk, coming to you from Cleveland. Cancer-stricken teacher charged for sub's wages. Reported May 7th in the San Francisco Chronicle. Let's go ahead to the news article. This is by Heather Knight, updated May 7th, 2019. Kids at Glen Park Elementary in San Francisco are learning yet again that sometimes life just isn't fair. You might recall the Blue School made this column in 2017 when a first grade classroom went through 13 teachers in 1 year after their original one left because of medical issues, and the school district shoveled through a string of substitutes. The district declined to let number 12 stay on board because she was the daughter of the principal, even though the class and parents loved her. Her mother had no role in selecting her, and there wasn't anybody else qualified for the job who wanted it. Now a second-grade teacher at the school is on leave for at least the rest of the school year as she battles cancer. Parents were shocked when they discovered the school district is charging her for her own substitute. Parents were outraged and incredulous, like, "This can't be," said Amanda Freed, who has a daughter in kindergarten and another in third grade. "There must be some mistake." But there was no mistake. The teacher, who doesn't want to be named for privacy reasons, really does have to pay for her own substitute while she's out sick, and it's because of state law. Like many aspects of public education and bureaucracy, the reason is confusing, and everybody I asked pointed fingers at somebody else. This is not unique to San Francisco, explained school district spokeswoman Laura Dutnick. This is not a district-only rule. Teachers in California don't pay into the state disability insurance program, so they can't draw its benefits. The governor and state legislature in 1976 inserted into the education code that public school teachers can go on leave for an illness or injury for 5 months, and that their paychecks will be whole minus the cost of a substitute teacher. Incredibly, the law allows districts to deduct the pay of a substitute even if no substitute was hired. The article writer had questions for the state, but Cynthia Butler, spokeswoman for the California Department of Education, said she should talk to the school district and teachers union. And this is actually really a load of BS because the state legislature and the governor pretty much mandated this as far back as 1976. And neither Democrats or Republicans have bothered to do anything about it. They simply don't want to because both major political parties despise public education and have been steadily eroding it everywhere through school privatization, which pockets money yet doesn't do anything to improve the quality of education. And on Facebook, let's play a little news clip from
Facebook co-founder Chris Hughes says the company should be broken up immediately. In a New York Times opinion piece out today, Hughes says CEO Mark Zuckerberg has unchecked powers and more influence than the government itself.
But Hughes warns breaking up Facebook isn't enough. He's calling for Congress to get involved in the way social media companies do business as soon as possible.
CNET senior producer Dan Patterson joins us now to talk about all of this. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So this is a pretty lengthy and in-depth article. Hughes certainly did not.
Yeah. This is courtesy of CBS News, published today, as a matter of fact. So let's go ahead and unpack this because Facebook really, it's gotten too big, much like Google, much like many other tech industries. It is so large and out of control that it has become detrimental to the public interest. Its role in helping Democrats to hype Russiagate, in spite of all evidence that Russia did not interfere in any way whatsoever in the 2016 or 2018 elections. And we know this because not one shred of credible evidence has surfaced in nearly 3 years from the Mueller investigation. but they've also been very sketchy when it comes to tracking user data, spamming people with ads that often eat into their computer's memory and loads them up with spam and spyware, and also arbitrarily banning people for expressing views that are not considered acceptable, whether socially or politically. In fact, it is this reporter's opinion that the Telecom Act of 1996, which was signed into law by far-right Democrat Bill Clinton, really ought to be repealed, and we need to start seeing a lot of these media giants broken up. This goes especially for such entities as Disney, Comcast, Viacom, National Amusements, actually, which owns both CBS and Paramount Pictures, as well as Viacom. And Comcast, of course, owns Universal, NBC. Time Warner, owns not only Warner Brothers, but also DC Comics. We need to be seeing a lot more trust busting from our government. The laws that we have on the books are not enforced, and the ones that we used to enforce, most of them have been repealed. And as a result, our media has become much more homogenized, much more sanitized to suit the sensibilities of those in power, and also it's been used to push propaganda like we've been seeing with Russiagate for the last 3 years, give or take. Really since WikiLeaks published the leaked DNC and Hillary Clinton and John Podesta emails exposing massive corruption and criminality within that camp. And of course, since then the major media, which basically is nothing more than glorified stenographers, have been towing the establishment line and hyping Russiagate and other conspiracy nonsense, basically in an effort to keep the Cold War going, even though it nominally ended about 30 years ago. But nobody wants to really end it, because to do that would be to open the door for cutting our massive military budget, which is not helping anyone. So anyway, this is my opinion. What do you think? I want to hear from you. Please let me know in the comment section below. I am using this channel to promote my political views, and also, from a progressive left perspective. My name is Michael Wilk. I've been involved in politics for most of my adult life, and I am on what you would consider the left end of the political spectrum. Although my actual beliefs, I would categorize more as, what is in the public interest? Does it work? Does it make sense? But, hey, if that makes me progressive, leftist, I don't mind that label. I think liberals need to take back that word from the far right, Democrats in particular, because they are anything but liberal. To be sure, there are a few token ones in the halls of power: Tulsi Gabbard, Bernie Sanders, Ilhan Omar, or however you pronounce her name. I'm sorry, been a long night, but they're far outweighed by the right-wingers and sellouts within the Democrats. And of course the Republicans are just out and out fascists, but then so are the Democrats who are in charge. This would include Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Joe Biden, Cory Booker, corporate conservatives who are hell-bent on ensuring that there is no change for the better. So I will be, of course, promoting candidates' policies, reporting on issues that I think are important or that are being misrepresented in the corporate media, especially since the Telecommunications Act, although this has been going on since the 1980s at least, media has been very pro-establishment to the point where it no longer even acts as any kind of independent check on power. They simply serve as stenographers for the powerful. And so what we end up seeing is the corporate media cheering as actual journalists like Julian Assange are persecuted, prosecuted, imprisoned, all for exposing crimes committed by those in charge. So, yeah, that's who I am. That's what I believe. And I will be uploading at least one video per week for now. Probably more as we get into the 2020 election. I've not decided on a candidate whom I want to support. I've been a Green Party voter since 2010. After voting for Dennis Kucinich as a write-in in 2008. And I voted for Jill Stein in 2012 and 2016. Next year, depending on whom the Green Party nominates, I may vote for if Dr. Ajamu Baraka is nominated, I would happily vote for him. For the Democrats, I'm definitely pushing for Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii. I think her progressive credentials are much better than Bernie Sanders, although I could live with the Sanders presidency. But his foreign policy leaves a lot to be desired. I think Representative Gabbard is much more in line with my own personal politics, although even with her, there are a few issues that I'm concerned about. But I feel that she is the best one to challenge the status quo and actually try to get things done. And also, her youth and energy, I think, would be best served in a position where she can affect change and really kind of use the power of the veto pen and the bully pulpit to really kind of force both major political parties to adopt a more reasonable set of policies, because we are running out of time. We are in the midst of an environmental apocalypse. The planet is heating up. We only have maybe 10 years to implement policies to reduce greenhouse gases in order to avert some of the worst of climate change and possibly survive. Otherwise, we are facing extinction by the end of the century, if not sooner. So, anyway, I will keep you updated as far as news items, and I will be also working to bring you guests from both the left and the right to debate policy. We'll see what happens on that end. Until next time, this is Michael Wilk for Progressive Independence saying good night and good luck.